Hey guys, let's get to work on our next layer. You should have completed your north versus south layer. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to uncheck it, and you'll notice that everything disappears when I uncheck it. And we are going to click Add Layer. This untitled layer with a check mark pops up. Click on the three dots here to rename this layer. And we're going to call this the Missouri Compromise. Missouri is spelled Missouri, compromise. Click Save. And now we have a new layer checked called the Missouri Compromise. Awesome. Let's take a look at our instructions really quickly. We're going to be creating a new layer called the Missouri Compromise. We just did that. We're going to be adding two shapes. The first shape will be of the state of Missouri. The second shape will be of the state of Maine. And then we will be adding a line through this thing called the parallel 3630. And I'll tell you more about the history of that line. It will become known as the Missouri Compromise line. Okay, so what was the Missouri Compromise? Let me give you just a little bit of a background. We have this idea of sectionalism between the North and the South. What I want you to try to remember is this word section, right? It's like different sections are fighting with each other. So sectionalism means that different areas are not in agreement and have their own ideas. They're mostly disagreeing about slavery right now and whether or not new states that come into the country should be allowed to have slavery or if they should be free states. Now, this comes to a conflict in the Senate. This is part of our legislative branch, and we know that each state gets 2 senators. So today we have 50 states and we have 100 senators. But at the time, there were 11 northern states and 11 southern states. So basically what this meant is that in the north there were 22 senators, and in the south there were 22 senators. So whenever they debated a law, it was kind of a even playing field, and neither side felt like either one had an advantage. The problem will be when Missouri applies to come into the Union as a slave state. Now, that would change everything. We would have 12 southern states, and we would have 24 southern senators, and there would be a disadvantage to the North when it comes to making laws, and the North did not like that. So the Missouri Compromise comes up with this new plan. They say, okay, we will allow Missouri to come on as a slave state, but to even the balance, we want to accept a new free state called Maine. The North is more happy with this. They say, okay, then there will be 12 northern states, and then the North will be the same, basically. 12 northern, 12 southern, each having the same amount of senators. That's basically what the compromise is, and they will draw a line saying that all future states north of this line must be free, and all future states south of the line must be slave. So let's take a look at how we do this on our map. The first thing the instructions said were to make 2 shapes around the states of Missouri and Maine. I'm going to go up here to my Create Liner Shape tool, and I'm going to follow the boundaries of Missouri. We have Kansas City over here in the west. It goes up here, back to the Mississippi River. It follows the Mississippi River through St. Louis, all the way down here, and it has this weird little notch, but then the rest of it is a straight line. Now, when you click on your first anchor, Google Maps is going to create what a polygon, just meaning a shape. And we're going to rename this first shape Missouri. Again, it's Missouri, but we're going to say slave state. Click Save and click on your style bucket. Choose a color that you like and increase the border width so it stands out more on your map. Awesome. Look in the key over here, and we have a color-coded Missouri slave state. Awesome. Let's add our next shape, which is the state of Maine. And it's this state right here. Again, I'm going to go to my Draw a Line tool, Add Line or Shape, and I might have to stop using my mouse. Let's try that again. Add Line or Shape. There we go. And Maine has kind of a strange border. It's up here on the border of Canada. You don't have to be perfect. Just something like this. And Maine has a famous, fairly rocky shoreline. They're famous for lobsters there, lobster fishing. Again, I'm going to click on my first anchor, and it's going to automatically create a new shape. This time we're going to call it Maine Free State. Again, I want you to pick a color. You can change the transparency. I like something like this, and make the border width bigger so it shows up. Cool. So I've got my Missouri slave state and the Maine free state. Everything should be happy now. We'll all get along as a happy family with equal slave states, equal northern states. But part of the compromise said, let's prevent this from happening in the future. And we're going to draw a line to say that all new states in areas that were from the Louisiana Purchase and the Mexican Cession, we're going to draw a line and say all new states north of the line must be free and all new states south of the line must be slave, so we'll never have to have this compromise again. And that line is called the 3630, which is a measurement of latitude. Again, I'm going to go to Add Line or Shape. It starts right here in Virginia. Now, if you were just to stretch it over to California, Google Maps adds a curve for the curvature of the Earth, and that's going to be a little confusing. So I want you to add some markers, right? It goes along Virginia, Kentucky, the southern border of Missouri. Then it goes across the little panhandle of Texas. It goes just under the state borders of Colorado and Utah, and then it goes to California. Again, it's going to keep going until I click on this last dot, and it's going to create a line. We're going to rename this line the Missouri compromise line. Click Save, and I am going to make it a little thicker so it shows up better on my map. And now I have a key over here. I have Missouri slave state, Maine free state, and the Missouri compromise line. Now you might see that when some new states get added over here, we might have some conflicts. That's a hint. But for now, people thought they had had this compromise and they could continue in peace. Well done.